There was a time in my life where I could never seem to follow through and stick with the goals that I set for myself. And maybe you resonate with this. You feel like you set goals for yourself, you get off to a good start, but you have to keep restarting because you never stick and do what it is that you firmly said you were going to do, and you never see it come to fruition, the work and the effort that you put in. And so I've spent years perfecting and creating a strategy after years of failure and not being able to stick to what I said I was going to do. Over and over again, especially when it came to creating something for myself and building my dream lifestyle or building businesses online, every time I would start, I wouldn't be able to continue and get to success, and I would see lots and lots of failures, and I never stuck to the goals that I'd set for myself until I was able to make a switch and implement this strategy. And this strategy today, and I put it in this Miro board to make it super simple for you to understand and for me to explain. If you implement a strategy that I'm going to go through today, you'll go from being that person that can never stick to any goals that you set and this unhappy face, and you'll change it to be this person that whatever goal you set, you have confidence knowing that you'll stick to those goals and you'll achieve them. And that will be you by the end of this video. So firstly, I'm going to break down, there are 5 key reasons why you can't stick to your goals. Let's show you them now here on this Miro board that I've created, and spent time to really think about this to make sure that this is the absolute pinnacle of videos that helps you with sticking to your goals moving forward. And you won't need any other goal, any other video other than watching this. And if you implement these strategies that I'm going to teach you today, I guarantee you'll stick to your goals, and when you stick to your goals, you achieve incredible things. These are the 5 key reasons that I see people time and time again with reasons people can't stick to their goals. I resonate with all of these points as well, because at certain times in my life I was not able to stick to any goals that I set either. And now when I coach people, when I help people in my community, when people come to me and they tell me the reasons why they can't stick to the goals they're setting, they almost always fall into these top 5 categories for reasons why you can't stick to your goals. That's either time wasting, not prioritizing, getting taken away with distractions, having poor habits, or that you're alone in this. And one of those 5 reasons will probably be the main one for you. But today I'm going to bring you the solutions for overcoming each of these main reasons so that you can push on. Now, in my life, I can resonate with each of these. For example, with time wasting. When I first decided I was going to start my business, I couldn't help but feel like I always had no time. I didn't have enough time to build a business because I was already in a 9-to-5 job and I had loads of other commitments, and I could find no time to build a business as well as all of the things I had in my day-to-day life already. What I didn't realise was the sheer amount of wasted time in my day, every single day, even when I just didn't realise I was doing it until I started to become intentional and become conscious of the time I was wasting. So if you feel like you've got no time in the way I was, I needed to start looking at the screen time. I needed to start thinking about the amount of football I was watching, or the amount of Netflix I was watching, and the amount of time that I could find in my day that I could put into something else. And it was only when I became intentional, you don't even realise it. And it's just easy to say I've got no time, but I realised that you've got to flip these things and realise, instead of saying you've got no time, you've got to start saying that I don't want to make time for something because you don't care enough. But if you care about achieving your goals enough, you'll make time and you're able to remove these. Another way that this showed up in my life as well that you might resonate with is distractions. And when I would start to go after my goals, so a big goal like building a business online, I would get started and I'd be following YouTube videos to build the businesses that I was trying to build. And whenever I was watching a YouTube video, I was just distracted by all of the recommended videos that would come up by the side. Or I'd scroll down and look at the comments beneath the video and see if I could get further dopamine from the comment section as well as in the video itself. And what happened was every time I was doing that, I was just distracting myself, and I was distracting myself from being able to take the actions that I needed to take to achieve the goals that I had. And that was another reason why I couldn't stick to my goals. So you might resonate with those. You may also have issues with not prioritising and not knowing which tasks to focus on. You may have issues with having really poor habits that you do every single day, but you find yourself unable to stop them. And you might find yourself alone with having a bad environment or bad people around you or no one around you that don't help you stick to your goals. So the solution for each of these, I've made them as simple as possible and actionable as possible. So you can take this away from this video today, take actions on each of these, and I guarantee you'll start to be able to stick to your goals. The first one we talked about, time wasting. So this is if in your day you understand that there is an amount of time each day, no matter how busy you say that you are, how busy you feel, there will be time in your day that is being wasted because you're not being intentional with that time. So instead of time wasting, we need to lean into time management and understanding where our time is spent so that we can actually use our time to our advantage. Because the truth is, the reality is, everyone that you aspire to be, all of the people you idolise, all of the people that are in the position you want to be in, they all have the same amount of time. They're just able to manage that time better. So here's some actionable things to take away with regards to time management. Firstly, big word that I always like to talk about is get intentional with your time. Start being aware of how you're spending your time. Now, some people like to do this by having a timesheet or time tracker where they'll actually write down what they're doing with each of their time for each of the hours in the day, just so that they start to become aware of it. Another way to do this would be to start writing notes on your phone. And another way to do this, which is what I did, was at the end of each day, I'd look back and I'd actually write in my journal, write in my planner, all of the actions that I did that day. And that way I could look on black and white in my own handwriting what it was and how I actually spent that day hour by hour. And when I was able to do that, I could start to see where I was wasting time. Once you're intentional, become aware of that time you're wasting, and before you try and add on new activities, before you try and build a new business, before you try and take on new healthy habits, we need to first cut down on the unhealthy habits and cut down on non-essential activities to make space for the healthy habits. I see too many people trying to build habits in their life without first removing the non-essential activities that will give you the time to build healthy habits. So that's the first point, become a time manager. The second way is to, instead of going from somebody that doesn't ever prioritize the tasks that they complete, somebody that takes prioritization very seriously. So the actionable ways to do this is, first of all, start to look at the tasks that you're doing, whether it's for the business that you're building or the body that you're building in the gym or whatever the goal is that you've set for yourself. Start to understand that there will be tasks that are important and some tasks that are not important. Not all tasks are created equal, and it's important that we're able to decipher and see which ones are the ones that make the biggest difference and the ones that are just filling your time. And then we need to prioritize all of our time towards setting time for the important tasks first. So, for example, like me, when I decided to shift and learn this strategy to start going after and actually achieving the goals I set for myself, I was building an e-commerce business. And an e-commerce business is a business that you build, and like any business that you build, there'll be a list of tasks, as long as you can possibly imagine, that you need to get done to complete and to build a business and start making sales. But all those tasks on that list, there'll be some that make crucial differences to your business, and there'll be some that they feel important, but actually they won't make the difference to the bottom line. So for example, with an e-commerce business, signing quality suppliers that provide you with good quality products is a high leverage important task. An example of a low importance task would be changing the color scheme on your website. But on a task list, if you don't know how to prioritize, they'll all look the same importance. So it's up to you to sort the important tasks from the non-important tasks, and then set time for your important tasks to do them first thing in the day. I can't stress how important this is, because think about yourself now. Do you have a to-do list? Most people do. If you have that to-do list, you know what you need to do towards your goals. When you look at that list, does it look like every task is as important as the next? Because if that's the case, then you're not prioritizing effectively and you'll be wasting your time doing non-important tasks. Okay, the next reason why you can't stick to your goals will be distractions. So there's two types of distractions. The first type of distractions is the distractions that pull your focus away in the moment every single day. And the second type of distraction is like shiny object syndrome, when you're going after your goals, but you see a different goal that you think that would be easier to go after and that would make a bigger difference to my life. And so you get distracted and you get taken away from your goals in that way. Let me know in the comments if you resonate with either of those type of distractions, whether it's in the day or whether it's getting pulled away and going down a different business model. They're super common, and it's a big reason why people can't stick to your goals. Now, the way we overcome this is to curate your environment intentionally. So, first way we do that is by creating a dedicated workspace. Make sure wherever it is that you work on your goals, it's dedicated to only doing that work on your goals, and it's not taking you away. The amount of times I hear from people that don't have a dedicated workspace, or they try and do things in non-optimal areas, is crazy to me, because you just need to have a dark room or somewhere that's quiet, and the only thing you can possibly think about is doing the work. Otherwise, you'll be intentionally taking your time away from what is really important. So create a dedicated workspace, limit the notifications on your phone. If possible, go on Do Not Disturb mode and have no notifications. That would be better. And avoid the shiny objects. So thinking bigger picture, if you're building an e-commerce business and you see a different type of business that looks easier and quicker, then that's often a shiny object, and it's often just going to be something that pulls you away from the goal that you set for yourself. And then in about another 2 or 3 months' time, you'll see another shiny object and move on to the next one. So be careful not to get taken into shiny objects. The next thing is poor habits. Having poor habits is going to hold you back from sticking to your goals. So what we need to do is put healthy habits in their place. Easier said than done, but the way to do this in actionable ways to build healthy habits is to build small habits initially. So, for example, if your goal, like mine, is to build successful businesses online, then instead of thinking about doing a huge amount of work in 8 hours a day on the businesses that you're building, just think about how can you build a small habit that moves you towards your goals. And a small habit when building an online business would be to take that one most important task every single day. So for an e-commerce business, it would be to sign one supplier every single day. For a content creation business, it would be to create one video every single day. And it's just doing small, manageable habits. Don't need to make this difficult for yourself. You don't need to have a 3-hour morning routine. You just need to make a simple, small, manageable habit. Take those habits consistently. And then when you do act on those small habits, celebrate them. Give yourself that dopamine, give yourself that pat on the back, that recognition, and that will help you maintain motivation. And finally, another way people stay and hold themselves back from actually taking their goals is by isolating themselves and being alone on their journey. And the opposite to this is to have people around you and have accountability. Now, very actionable ways that you can take away from this video to do this would be to join a community and to find an accountability partner. Because if you don't have anyone in your corner when you're trying to build a business or stick to your goals, then it's all on your own self-discipline that you're relying on to continue with that goal that you're sticking to. And all of the strategies that we talked about so far, even if you've got healthy habits in place and you're being consistent and you know how to focus and you're eliminating distractions, if it just comes down to you, it's easier for you to let yourself off the hook than it would be for anyone else. And so you're just putting a lot of stress and pressure on yourself to hold yourself accountable to the goals that you've got set. But in reality, we all know if we're holding ourselves accountable, it's easy for us to let ourselves off the hook. But if you've told somebody, if you've got an accountability partner, somebody that you respect and is also working on their goals, then you're going to be able to benefit so much, and you're going to be able to go towards that goals a lot easier. I've read recently that you actually increase your chances of achieving a goal by up to 60% as soon as you have an accountability partner that you tell your goal to. And you can increase that all the way up to 80% if you regularly check in with that person as well, and if they check in on you. Now, speaking of this, it might sound difficult to find an accountability partner and somebody that's on your side, because nowadays I certainly found it difficult around me to find the right type of people that were really going to hold me to my goals, because obviously everyone's busy with lots of their own things. So I've made it easier, and I've made it much easier for you to find accountability partners inside my Relentless Co community. So you can join this community completely for free, get involved in the discussions that we're having in the community, let us know what you're working on, we can help you out, hold you accountable. And I've also created an accountability partner finder tool. So inside this community, if you want to find somebody that will hold you accountable and you can benefit from all the things we've talked about today, you simply complete your profile so that you find somebody who's a perfect match for you. And there's a whole tool, it's all explained, and you can get yourself onto this partner tool and you'll find somebody that's going to be in your corner and you can regularly meet with, and they'll hold you accountable. So I recommend, it's completely free to use that tool, it's completely free to join the community. I want you to succeed, and the way I know that you'll succeed is by sticking to your goals. So join the community, find an accountability partner, and that will be the fifth best way to overcome your difficulty with sticking to your goals. So we've broken those 5 down. I now know that you have the actionable steps, you have the system that I use to stick to my goals, and so that I can achieve my goals that I set for myself, and so I can then design my lifestyle and live from wherever I want around the world. And that's only possible because I stick to the goals that I set to myself, and I follow the system that we've laid out today. Now this system, just to reiterate and summarize the points again, it's a system that you'll know how to do. You've got actionable strategies there to take on board from everything that we've said today. You need to manage your time, prioritize your tasks, curate your environment, have healthy habits in place, and be held accountable to the goals that you've set. and you'll have a strategy that will take you to the goals that you've got set. So simply follow the system. This is the only video you need in order to stick to your goals. With this in place and with people around you, you'll be able to stick to any goal that you set. And when you stick to your goals, the ultimate goal is to design your lifestyle. If you're anything like me, success to me is all about freedom. It's about having the freedom to do what you want, when you want, where in the world you want to be, with who you want to be with. And so ultimately, to achieve success, stick to your goals, design your lifestyle, and you can do anything you want with the rest of your life. Okay, with that said, hope you enjoyed the video today. I look forward to speaking with you inside my community, which you can join with the link in the description. And with that said, I hope you'll enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next video.